The world's most dangerous virus isn't just a theoretical concept, it exists, and it has claimed millions of lives over the years. While the title of most dangerous can depend on context, whether we're talking about fatality rates, global reach, or ability to mutate, the virus that often gets the crown is HIV, human immunodeficiency virus. HIV's dangerous nature lies in its stealth, its ability to silently weaken the immune system over years, and its relentless mutations. But HIV is far from the only threat. Ebola, smallpox, rabies, and SARS-CoV-2 also represent some of the deadliest viral pathogens. So, what makes these viruses so dangerous? How do they invade our bodies, and why are they so difficult to combat? Let's look inside the world's most dangerous viruses to understand what makes them so formidable and how they change the course of human history. The stealthy power of HIV remains one of the deadliest viruses, partly because it targets and disables the immune system itself. The virus primarily attacks CD4 T cells, which are the key players in coordinating the immune response. These cells are essential for defending the body against infections, so when they're destroyed, the body becomes highly susceptible to opportunistic infections and certain cancers. What makes HIV particularly dangerous is its ability to integrate itself into the DNA of infected cells. Once inside a cell, HIV uses the cell's own machinery to make copies of itself, and eventually, the virus incorporates its genetic material into the host's genome. This means the virus can hide in the body for years, making it hard to detect and eliminating the possibility of an immediate immune response. Antiretroviral therapies, ART, have been a groundbreaking advancement in HIV treatment, but the virus's ability to mutate quickly, evade immune recognition, and establish long-term latency means that it's never truly eradicated from the body. Another terrifying feature of HIV is its rapid mutation rate. HIV's genome is made of RNA, and RNA viruses are notorious for their ability to mutate quickly, creating new strains that are harder for the immune system to detect. This means that even if your immune system begins to develop antibodies against one strain, the virus can evolve and introduce new mutations that make it unrecognizable. This ability to mutate so rapidly is why scientists have been struggling for decades to develop a vaccine or cure. The lethal simplicity of Ebola, on the other hand, is a virus that is quick and deadly. Unlike HIV, which takes years to progress to AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, Ebola can lead to death in days. The virus causes hemorrhagic fever, which leads to severe internal bleeding, organ failure, and shock. The Ebola virus attacks the vascular system, causing the blood vessels to leak, which is why one of the hallmark symptoms is bleeding from multiple orifices. What makes Ebola so deadly isn't just its ability to kill quickly, but its ability to spread rapidly in areas without adequate medical infrastructure. The virus is transmitted through bodily fluids, which makes it particularly dangerous in places where healthcare systems are inadequate or during outbreaks. Ebola's high mortality rate, between 25% to 90% depending on the strain, coupled with its speed, makes it a nightmare for those exposed. One reason Ebola is so dangerous is its ability to evade the immune response. It infects and manipulates the immune cells themselves, overwhelming the body's defenses. The virus can also trigger a massive inflammatory response, which can cause further damage to the body's organs. Despite ongoing research and improvements in treatment, like monoclonal antibodies and experimental vaccines, outbreaks are often still devastating, particularly in resource-limited settings. Smallpox, the virus that shaped history. The eradication of smallpox in 1980 is one of the greatest victories in modern medicine. Yet, smallpox was one of the deadliest and most contagious viruses in human history. Caused by the Variola virus, smallpox has been responsible for killing an estimated 300 million people in the 20th century alone. What made smallpox so dangerous was its ability to spread quickly and its severity. The virus causes high fever, a characteristic rash that turns into blisters, and severe complications like pneumonia and encephalitis. The fatality rate of smallpox was around 30% in unvaccinated individuals, and the disease was easily transmitted from person to person via respiratory droplets. People who survived often had lifelong scars and, in some cases, blindness. The eradication of smallpox was achieved through an aggressive global vaccination campaign, led by the World Health Organization. Smallpox was eliminated through a vaccine that stimulated the body's immune system to produce antibodies against the virus. The success of this effort stands as a powerful reminder of the importance of vaccines in fighting viral infections. Rabies, the silent killer. Rabies is another virus that often remains hidden before it strikes with fatal consequences. The virus is transmitted through the saliva of infected animals, typically through bites, but it can also be spread through scratches or open wounds. Once the virus enters the body, it travels along the nerves to the brain, causing inflammation, confusion, paralysis, and death. Rabies is particularly dangerous because it often goes unnoticed during its early stages. The virus incubates in the body for weeks or even months before symptoms appear. Once symptoms begin, it's often too late for treatment, as the virus progresses rapidly and causes irreversible damage to the central nervous system. Rabies has a near 100% mortality rate once symptoms appear. However, rabies is preventable with prompt treatment. If a person is bitten by a potentially rabid animal, a series of post-exposure rabies vaccines can prevent the virus from reaching the brain. Despite its fatality, rabies can be controlled through vaccination of both humans and animals, yet it still causes thousands of deaths each year, particularly in parts of Asia and Africa. SARS-CoV-2, a new threat with global impact. And then, of course, we have SARS-CoV-2, the virus responsible for the COVID-19 pandemic. First identified in 2019, this novel coronavirus quickly spread across the globe, infecting millions and causing global lockdowns and massive societal disruption. Unlike Ebola or smallpox, SARS-CoV-2 doesn't have a high fatality rate, but its infectiousness, its ability to spread rapidly, makes it a particularly dangerous virus. The virus is transmitted through respiratory droplets, which means it can spread through the air, and people who are infected but asymptomatic can unknowingly spread it. SARS-CoV-2 has caused severe illness, particularly in older adults and those with underlying health conditions, leading to millions of deaths worldwide. It also has the potential to cause long-lasting health effects, commonly referred to as long COVID, where people continue to experience symptoms like fatigue, brain fog, and respiratory problems long after their initial infection has cleared. The danger of SARS-CoV-2 lies not only in its widespread transmission but also in its ability to mutate. The virus has produced several variants, some of which are more transmissible than the original strain, making containment efforts difficult. However, the rapid development of vaccines has been a huge success, preventing many severe cases and deaths and proving how swiftly science can respond to a viral threat. The power of viruses: what makes viruses like HIV, Ebola, smallpox, rabies, and SARS-CoV-2 so dangerous isn't just their ability to cause illness, it's their strategy for survival. Viruses are masters of evolution, capable of mutating, adapting, and finding ways to persist in a host. Some viruses can evade the immune system entirely, while others can remain dormant for years, only to resurface when the conditions are right. Their ability to spread, mutate, and sometimes change their very structure makes them one of the most formidable forces of nature. Despite this, human ingenuity, through vaccines, antiviral drugs, and public health strategies, has significantly reduced the impact of many of these viruses. However, the ongoing battle against viral infections reminds us of the powerful persistence of these pathogens. They have the ability to change our lives in ways we may never see coming, and understanding how these viruses work is key to preparing for the next viral challenge that could emerge on the horizon. Viruses may be small, but they are some of the most dangerous entities we will ever face, capable of reshaping entire societies and forcing us to adapt. The world's most dangerous viruses have shown us the fragility of human health, but also the incredible resilience of our ability to fight back.